Hey guys, welcome to episode number 4 of the Westeros Gazette podcast. Today on the show, we've got a lot to discuss. We got burning people. We've got little tiny daggers in people's hands. We've got just a whole lot. I got a lot more time on this. I really dug this in. Guys, anything you want to add here to this intro? There's a dagger. We covered the dagger. There's
dragon
many things to cover.
Theories.
And it looks like John and Danny want a bone. Enjoy episode number 4 of Westeros Gazette.
Hold on to your butt.
I do. That's gonna fade him in. You know what I mean? Informal. Let's keep it, informal, sort of natural. Just go on your butt.
It's like the kid was talking about it last time.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Westeros Gazette episode number 4. That's right, this is a part of the Hold On to Your Butts family of podcasts, all 2 of them. And we're so happy that you guys came out to give us another chance here. We have a ton to unpack this week. What an incredible episode. What was the name of the episode?
Spoils of War.
Spoils of War. So that's something that, I feel like I never pay attention to for Game of Thrones for some reason. I never pay attention to the name of the episode. I see it, right away when I'm on the HBO Go app or something, and I go to it, I'm like, oh, yeah, new episode. But actually, it didn't even, display for whatever reason on the HBO Go app the other night when we booted it up. It just said Game of Thrones 64. Yeah. And it got me thinking... Yeah. How cool would that game have been? A fucking Nintendo 64 version of Game of Thrones would have been pretty fucking sweet. So,
do you think somebody hacked it?
No, it must be the 64th. Are we around?
No,
what would be?
No,
it's absolutely the 64th.
Actually hacked it.
Oh, that's right, they did, didn't
and
they?
it leaked. So kudos to everyone who didn't watch it before Sunday. Though I heard that what you were able to watch made the dragon. Oh, spoiler alert. The dragon, I guess, looked like a Lego, and there were some scenes that were super dark that were just impossible to watch because the hacked version of the show was bad.
Who is that desperate to watch? I mean, I can't tell you that the curiosity wasn't there for me to understand, but so you got some hands raised right here. But you would watch it?
No, I completely agree. What's the point of watching a hacked version when the show is so good and beautiful as a final put together piece?
Plus, you got to be there in that moment. It's Sunday night. You're getting ready. You pour a drink. You sit back on your couch. It's Game of Thrones time. It's a sacred time. It's like going to church. It's like going to church. What I'm saying is Game of Thrones better than God? Okay.
Whoa.
Well,
I think that's a whole different
the two things
discussion.
I did on Sunday was go to church and watch Game of Thrones.
There you go.
So.
Nailed it both.
Okay, cool. I don't want to you know what, guys? I don't want to dick around anymore. Let's just get into it. There's a lot to unpack today. We got a full house. I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce the gang. As always, I've got Joe and John joining, and we've got a full house. A series regular has joined. 2 series regulars have joined in Seth and Beth.
Hello.
The old Seth and Beth. Really like that combo name. And then my beautiful wife, Kendall,
Who
has
was also
joined.
here for our preview episode.
That is true.
Remember? She's
and
a series regular now, too.
fans of the show will recognize her for her many guest appearances on the show, proper Hold On to Your Butts, where she'll say something and I'll ask her to repeat it, and then she'll just mouse up and not talk. So it's like, is she there or is she not? I can confirm I do have a wife. She's real and she's here today. So, also, really quickly, too, quick plug, make sure to tune in this week for the Hold On to Your Butts proper show. It is probably posting Wednesday morning. This will be posting on a Tuesday. That'll be posting on a Wednesday. Knock on wood, we're supposed to have our VR special. It's been pushed back a couple of weeks. But either way, it's going to be a good time. That's the Hold On to Your Butts proper show. Make sure to subscribe to Hold On to Your Butts, and you'll get all of these wonderful bonus shows like the Westeros Gazette and all of our spoiler casts all online, all for free. Isn't that just nice? And we really broke the podcast model. We gave ours away for free.
Yeah, quit digging around.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm taking it around. These are ads. These are advertisements. These are necessary. Okay, but let's
pay the bills.
Let's get right into it. Joe, kick us off. Joe, our scene master, our scene maester, if you will.
I feel like this is a good way to actually be chronologically in order, right? So, the very beginning is kind of a short scene with the Lannister army returning from Highgarden. You see him with a lot of pull carts and whatnot, kind of like taking it in after an easy win at Highgarden with some of the Lannisters and stuff. What I found really interesting specifically about this first scene is we get some Bronn action, right? Bronn and Jaime, and their dichotomy in this episode's really pretty good. They go back and forth, but the thing I found most interesting was when Bronn and Jaime are talking, essentially, I think Jaime says something like, oh, well, when we won the war and Cersei's ruling and everything's peaceful to be cool, and he's like, stranger things have happened. And Bronn's like, yeah, what stranger things have happened than that? Because that sounds ridiculous. But what I found fascinating about that is even people fighting for Cersei are like, this woman is insane. She's crazy, she's harsh, she's a really intense ruler, and I don't know, I felt like that was weird.
I think we see that really well in the scene where Arya meets up with the Lannister army, like little kind of 5-pod person group.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. But even they don't really know why they're fighting, and they're like, we just want to get home to our loved ones and our kids and kind of get this all past us. Like, we're over it at this point.
And that's what I think the showrunners have done an excellent job of this season. We'll definitely talk about it later, but they've humanized war at this point, which is really hard to do. And to the point of the relationship between Jaime and Bronn. Oh man, the bourbon's kicking in already.
It's not a good sign.
So again, we've got a roommate who's watching this for the first time ever. We're just now to the point. Jaime is just back in King's Landing.
I feel like we need to make this a regular segment on the show where we like check in on your roommate who's like experiencing
it's a great
it for
option.
the first. Yeah.
We'll talk about how she reacted to us later. But so I was watching it with her last night after the end of this episode, and we get back to where Bronn and Jaime kindled their relationship, which was just after Jaime lost his hand and had to learn to fight with his left hand. And it was nice. You can see where they've come. Like, they respect each other, but they're very different people. And I think that really played out very well in the opening scene here.
Bronn, you do forget that Bronn is the character that showed Jaime how to get his groove back. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of got him back on a combination of him and Brienne sort of did that. So, and what's cool here is that we immediately see Lannister's gonna Lannister, where they say, I think Jaime gives Bronn a little bit of the gold and says, hey, thanks for your trouble. And he's like, wow, you got all the rest of this gold, like, you're rich, what are you gonna do? And he's like, no, we're giving this to the Iron Bank, like, we have to pay back our debts, that's what Lannisters do. And you start to see, like, really quickly how, they're gonna square up, and we'll spoilers, always spoilers on this show, but obviously there's a big battle that happens at the end, but I know that at the beginning of that battle, they do say that right before that, Randall Tarley comes and says the last of the money has made it back to King's Landing, so that wasn't harmed, or that's not harmed. So we know that because of the Siege of Highgarden, the Lannisters were able to pay off their debt to the Iron Bank, so ostensibly, and we see it a little bit later in the episode between the conversation between Tycho from the Iron Bank and Cersei, that they've sort of, he says like something even like as blunt as like, wow, that's never happened before, no one's ever paid that back so quickly, like that's pretty awesome.
Just like my student loan.
Yeah.
I love the point, he made that comment to Cersei, saying even your dad didn't do anything quite like this. You're really showing up, even him, and that what an intense comment for him to make, and for Cersei to hear, and for her to not even flinch when he said it, to just be like, yeah.
Yeah, she had some like swagger in that scene too, or she was like kind of joking around with him a little bit and stuff too, and talking about like, well, how will we like get the troops to like fight for? There's some sort of like interplay between her and this guy. It seems like he's starting to give her the respect that she's always wanted for comments like that. To your point, and she's really enjoying it and kind of playing with it. So that's cool. Joe, what is the next scene?
Yeah, next we cut straight to Littlefinger and Bran in the at Winterfell together.
Oh, this is a big
just
one.
The two of them, and obviously, as we kind of touched on in the last episode, Catspaw comes up, but we kind of only get a really small inkling of what it might mean, even throughout the whole episode. Even though it's kind of like a figure for, I think, or a metaphor for kind of the lineage of the Starks now, because Bran giving it on to other people, etc. But we see Littlefinger, essentially what I see it being is him giving Bran a gift of peace or something in that regard, and saying, yeah, this was supposed to kill you, but I got it back for you. Do you remember who that belonged to? And we see a lot of interaction here that is strictly tense, but even though Bran has now essentially become emotionless. So I think for me, I was kind of curious to see what Bran might say, and obviously we get a little bit of that afterwards.
So can we break down the scene for a second? Because I feel like there's a lot happening in this like short 2-minute scene. So from my memory, which for Game of Thrones isn't great, as you will continue to see in every episode, why did Littlefinger have the dagger to begin with? Was he the one that was supposed to kill Bran
It's
originally?
his dagger. He owns the dagger. So
Littlefinger does?
The important thing to keep in mind...
But how did he get it?
It's his... Well, we don't have that backstory. That's one of the spin-offs that HBO is going to do eventually, probably. But it is Littlefinger's dagger. Littlefinger kicked off the War of the Five Kings. Like, everything that has happened up to this point, minus, like, the dragons and the Night King, is because of Littlefinger. And this dagger, basically.
Why is it because of Littlefinger?
Yeah, agreed.
I think I can take a stab at this, actually. So, yeah, I agree with John, and I think the reason that the War of the Five Kings started in no small part was due to the assassination attempt on Bran way back when, right? I mean, that sort of kicked off the series of events that led to the Starks being pissed off by the time they got to King's Landing when Ned was chosen as the Hand of the King. And what was the scene? And someone jogged my memory because it's been so long, and I know that I've read a lot about this after sort of breaking down this episode in Cat's Paw, but Littlefinger uses Cat's Paw up against Ned's throat at some point in, like, the...
It was like as...
They were coming out of the brothel.
Yeah, it was as the Lannisters were capturing Ned Stark.
Right, and so Jaime comes out of nowhere, and it's about to be this little duel, and then basically Littlefinger comes out of nowhere, holds up Cat's Paw to Ned's throat, and he's, like, kind of behind him, and that's kind of what draws it up.
But isn't that after the assassination attempt on Bran?
Yes, but Littlefinger's the one who's orchestrated all of this up to this point. He's the one who betrays the Starks on multiple occasions. He's the one who basically gets Ned Stark killed.
He hires the cutthroat for Bran after the fall didn't kill him.
And then also talks up Catelyn Stark to kidnapping Tyrion, which that pisses off Lannisters. Like, so at this point, Cat's Paw has been this thing that is pivotal to everything.
Yeah, and so it's to bring it back to the scene between Bran and Littlefinger, though, and Joe, I think you'd said it was like this peace offering to Bran. Like, when has that ever been? I think Sansa even brings it up. Like, when has that ever been Littlefinger's MO? Like, he doesn't give you anything and not expect something in return, right? And so, like, I think this was just another power move or a power attempt by Littlefinger to get in the heads of the Starks, and it just comically continues to, like, not work. It's almost like he's this, like, mustache-twiddling bad guy in Winterfell that just can't get any of his plans to work. Like, he'll go, like, I'm going to go talk to Jon Snow and intimidate him in the catacombs. Oh, got a hand in my throat. I'm going to go tell Sansa. And he's, nope, she called me on my bullshit, and I'm going to go give this sword to Bran, and then nope, apparently he knows everything bad that I've ever done.
Yeah, and we hear it even in the last episode with his like ridiculous like drug ridden like soliloquy or whatever you want to call it, where he's like fight every battle in your mind all the time, whatever. But another peace offering he makes is talking about Catelyn and how he would have totally saved Catelyn's life if he could have done that. And so I think he's trying, like you mentioned in our last episode, is how many things can he try his hand at to win back their admiration or trust, and we're seeing it not working very well.
There are 2 points of that I really like, and I think that comment about Catelyn Stark was somewhat sincere, though, because like he does love Catelyn. Like it is known throughout the show that he actually loved her and would have probably done anything for her. But to me, and you guys have kind of alluded to this already, Littlefinger sounds like he's kind of, and this is not to pull up the whole like ice and fire thing, he feels like he's on a piece of ice and it's just cracking away from everything else, and he's getting very little ground to stand on. And literally, everyone's calling him on his shit, and he's got nothing left, and he's trying to just fiddle at straws for the last little piece that he might be able to pull.
And I just, like, I can't get over this moment that Littlefinger has this absolute look of terror in his face, and it comes at the line that everyone has broken down a lot up to this point. We won't be the first to do it, and we shouldn't spend too much time on it. We should keep it